We do have some action items that are on the agenda, and we'll handle those at the beginning of the meeting. Anybody that's online, if you want to speak under comments, public comments, just go ahead and go off, don't take it off mute, and we'll call on you then. Once again, during public comments, it's going to be a 3-minute time period. We did receive several emails and letters that have all been distributed to the council members. Anything that was given to us before noon on Friday has been distributed. And so those that have sent letters in, if you have just something quick you want to add, you don't need to get up and read your letter because we've all seen them. So we'll start out with a roll call.
Larson.
Here.
Fratelli.
Here.
Eaton. Here. Lyman.
Here.
Ronnie. Here. Westwood.
Here.
Whistler. Here.
At this time, we'll close the regular meeting and we'll open it up for the public meeting on the budget. The floor is open for comments on the 2021-2022 budget. This is a public hearing. Public hearing on the budget. One more time, public hearing on the budget. Any comments? We'll close the public meeting. We'll bring up resolution 3583, approving and adopting the final budget.
Move to approve resolution number 3583, a resolution of the city of Red Lodge, Montana, approving and adopting the final budget for fiscal year 2021-2022 as proposed by the city of Red Lodge mayor and approved by the Red Lodge City Council.
Second.
Discussion at the table. Yes.
I just, you know how we had planned our recreational facilities, and it was going to be probably to help the pool, tennis courts. I just also wanted to add that the Parks Board was going to apply for a tourism grant to do the bathrooms at Rotary Park, and they are no longer going to do that. And so if we could just also, if there's enough money, they would like possibly to get some help getting those done. Because the pool is applying this year and the chamber is going to update their bathrooms next year. So I think the bid came in around $90,000. So if we have any extra that we could set aside, maybe over 2 or 3 years to get that done, the Parks Board would greatly appreciate that.
All right. Thank you. Any other discussion at the table? Yes, Dave.
I have a question for Lonnie. Just looking at the resort tax line items, help me reconcile the category, and clearly they don't line up exactly. But we had talked about, and for the benefit of the public, expanding our resort tax fund to what we believe to be an optimistic number. So there are projects that we may not be able to take action on, but we will legally have the option of doing so if the money comes in, if we have another stellar year. And I'm just looking at the categories that we have listed there, and I'm seeing pool phase 1, pool phase 2, but I don't necessarily see the resort tax items here represented. Should I, or am I missing something?
No, remember at the last meeting we discussed the pool phase 1 and 2 construction coming out of our capital projects.
Okay.
So the only thing on the resort tax would be the bonds for the pool that is budgeted.
All right. I am good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other discussion at the table on the budget?
We could use the recreational facilities fund though to finish the pool, correct? If
That's
fundraising,
you guys
I
did,
mean,
yeah,
could,
you guys did
that was kind of
Yes,
part of
that
it.
is
right.
And I think there was a concern from some council members of just making sure that it's on the record that was part of the discussion, that it could be used for the pool if needed because additional funding was needed.
That's why we did the recreational development. Yep.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Fratelli.
Yes.
Eaton.
Yes.
Lyman.
Yes.
Browning,
Yes.
Westwood,
Yes.
Whistler. Yes.
Resolution 3584, this is for a planning grant, infrastructure planning grant.
I move to approve resolution number 3584, authorization to submit the MCEP infrastructure planning grant application.
Second.
Discussion at the table.
Did you have somebody on staff?
Sure. Jim, you want to enlighten us on the infrastructure grant?
Well, again, it's a planning grant to move forward on the wastewater PER, which is something that's due every 5 years in our wastewater PER, so we're trying to get planning grant to help fund getting our PER up to date for the wastewater. It's just a grant we're eligible for, and we try to get everyone we can.
Any other discussion at the table? Joy?
Do we know how much the matching funds would be?
At that time, know what the grant would produce. I don't know what this,
Okay,
not a one-to-one match or anything, it's a,
okay. Just some, be sure to determine the amount.
Yeah, generally it's 3 or 4 to 1.
Okay.
They would pay 3, we would pay 1, or 4 to 1.
That was the enterprise.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion at the table? Discussion from the public. Any discussion on the infrastructure planning grant? One more time. Any public comment? Roll call.
Curtelli,
yes.
Eaton,
Yes.
Lyman,
Yes.
Browning,
Yes.
Westwood,
Yes.
Whistler. Yes.
At this time, I'm going to call on Chief Schrock to give us an event update.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and members of the Red Lodge community. The following statistics are numbers that were pulled from the immediate jurisdictional boundaries of the Red Lodge Police Department for the dates of 7/24/2021 to 8/1/2021, which were the approximate date scheduled for the Hells Angels National Run. During that 8-day period, the Red Lodge Police Department responded to approximately 101 calls for service. Those calls are as followed: citizen contacts 5, citizen assist 8, animal complaints 4, traffic hazard complaints 2, traffic stops 45, the majority of which were documented motorcycle club contacts, dispatch queries 10, motor vehicle crashes 1, burglary alarms 1, welfare checks 3, vandalism 1, report of possible intoxicated driving 1, residential fire investigation 1, thefts 3, parking complaints 3, stolen vehicles 1, traffic complaints 1, building security checks 1, suspicious person complaints 1, suspicious activity complaints 1, weapons complaints 1, medical emergencies 2, drug overdoses 1, area checks 1, intoxicated pedestrians 1, in progress physical disturbances 1, 911 hang-up calls 1. In closing, I'd like to offer facts regarding the Hells Angels National Run. All of the extra law enforcement personnel observed was at no cost to the Red Lodge taxpayer. The personnel was secured through the Sheriff's Office Mutual Aid Program and the Montana Highway Patrol. The Red Lodge Police Department, Carbon County Sheriff's Office, and Montana Highway Patrol planned for this event months in advance. It was no mistake that things ran as smooth as they did. After one day of the national run beginning, law enforcement significantly ramped up enforcement due to motorcycle traffic-related incidents. The Red Lodge Police Department and its officers are not afforded to enforce state or local law. Officers must prioritize call for service and monitor other activities before enforcing noise violations. 2 confirmed service medals and numerous letters of commendation are coming out of the month of July regarding the scheduled events. Given the magnitude of the event and the extremely low crime volume, the public should be more than proud of its police department, sheriff's office, and highway patrol. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Mayor, I have a question for Chief Strong. I'm wondering, of those incidents, how many of those took an officer out of circulation to deal with, as opposed to just like a citation or something? Were there any incidents that basically took an officer out of circulation to deal with?
Numerous.
Any other questions from the table? For the chief? Yes.
Chief Trump?
Yes, ma'am.
How many of those were related to exhibition driving unlawful?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but there were 45 traffic contacts, the majority of which were motorcycle related.
I believe that's where the noise from the motorcycles would be most captured. Is that correct? Like if there was a violation against, I guess exhibition driving includes driving a motorcycle that has a non-standard muffler or the fittings that make it louder.
Correct.
Were there any violations cited for that specifically?
To my knowledge, I don't have the numbers in front of me. During that time, we do have call stacks that officers do have to prioritize calls for service. As I stated before, motor vehicle thefts, burglary alarms, drug overdoses, area checks, and intoxicated pedestrians and disturbances, thefts and otherwise. So we do have to prioritize our call stack, given the amount of resources that we had at the time before traffic enforcement. However, there was a significant amount of traffic enforcement in that 8-day period.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else from the table? Questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, I stated last meeting we had, I was put aside a special hour to discuss special events. We'll start that at the table. Anybody want to speak on special events?
I'll be happy to start.
Okay.
We have received, I have received probably 20 to 30 emails from citizens, residents, and people in the community raising concerns about inappropriate behavior, loud noise, sometimes events going later than the 10 p.m. requirement, and a general feeling from the community that perhaps these events are not in the best interest of some folks. In all my time here, I've never seen such a voice for behavior by people, whether they're visitors or locals, that may not be appropriate and may even be illegal. And hence, I assume this is why we have the crowd tonight. I'm sure we're going to hear from everyone here tonight. I hope we do. I think this needs to be addressed. I think it needs to be addressed continually until we come up with an equitable solution to not only those who are concerned about the items that they've emailed us, but also we have to look at the other side for the people who are participating in this commercially. And I wanted us to get started on this early enough that we would have something done and a solution in place by springtime. And hence, we're beginning tonight.
Anything else from the table? Any more discussion? Jody?
I guess my main comment is that we really need to be careful moving forward, that whatever we put in place, we have to realize applies to all of our events, not just a certain one that we received a lot of letters on. everyone deserves, to be treated equally when we move forward, and have, the organizers deserve to know where their event stands, because it takes months and months of planning, for everybody. I heard talk of putting a moratorium on event applications, and that would immediately basically stop the Christmas stroll. So I don't think that, to me, that that's the solution, you know, because we have events all year. It's not just our busy July.
Tom?
As Councilman Critelli, I got as many letters as he did. I'm sure some of them are the same. I might have gotten more, actually, plus a number of phone calls. And I'm really waiting to hear from people in the public, because I don't recognize everybody here. I want to hear what they have to say about it, about the situation.
Dave?
As we start this conversation, and I'll echo what Pete said, this is a start of a conversation, nothing we're going to resolve tonight. This may seem a little strange, but this is one of those moments that makes me very grateful that governance is by design, not a fast and reactive process. This is going to be a slow, deliberative, public process where we set in place, we revisit the ordinances and the regulations that we have in town and decide if there's opportunities that we can improve those to better suit our town going forward. And so I guess maybe I just want to set that expectation that for some people this may seem like it's slow and takes a while, and that is by design, and this is the type of issue that makes me grateful that that is the case. So I just want to manage expectations from that perspective. Thank you, Mayor.
Teresa?
So I'm hearing a lot of things I would have said myself, and just want to reiterate that whatever we can come up with in the way of improvement, it has to be equitable, and it's important that it's balancing the health and safety of our community. It's not just about the businesses and the profits that they can make, or other people, you know, resigning themselves to leaving during that week. And it's not been easy. Every year after year, I know I've put in letters myself, SWOT analysis, saying, couldn't we do this? But there has to be something done, and I appreciate that everyone up here is willing to do that work, along with everyone that's in the audience and all residents, to find a good solution.
Any other comments at the table?
I guess I'm the only one left, so I don't know if I have much more unique to add, except that I think I've received about 40 letters, maybe more than that, between 40 and 50 letters from people. So just like everyone else, I'm really interested to start this conversation, and also with the expectation of that nothing's going to be solved quickly, and that I think it's a good thing to be purposefully slow and make sure that everybody's voice is heard, because I think that's the most important thing that we can do as council members, is to make sure that everybody's voice is heard. Thank you.
Okay. I will restate that if you have a comment, step up to the podium, state your name, the address of your residence. It'll be time for 3 minutes. Those online, also, like I say, just unmute and we'll get around to calling on you. I'd really like to keep it, to start out with, I would like to do just residents of Red Lodge and business owners. And then with time allowing, we can move on to the people that are living outside the city that have something to say. So I will open it up to the floor.
Greetings, Mayor, council members, people of the public. My name is Walter Clapp. I live at 301 Flat Avenue North. It's just behind Moss Taco, a block off of Broadway. I'd like to start by saying thank you to the council for starting this process this early. I agree that this is a dirty issue, a difficult issue, And it's gonna take a while, and I'm happy to see you, entering into these waters this early. Second, I'd like to congratulate, law enforcement on their performance this year. I think they did do an excellent job. And I believe that, continuing with the Hells Angels, which is an international criminal organization, is nothing to be laughed about. And it's serious work, and I'm astounded that at the PR campaign that they're able to run, it is no doubt that they traffic in many things that are illegal, and that the money that is spent in this community has blood stained with it. However, that does not mean that we can prohibit them from being here. These are public roads. And this rally that happens also will happen regardless of whether or not we issue these permits. The reason I'm here and I wanted to speak to you is because I think that where we should start is with enforcing the laws that are on the books to promote a culture that does not condone or incentivize outlaw biker culture. I ride a motorcycle. I like my motorcycle. I understand it. I understand the freedom. Not all of them are allowed, and not all of them have to be revved while they're sitting on Broadway or while they're exiting and departing next to my house. We have a code in the books. It's 619, and it permits the police force to cite and enforce an ordinance that prohibits the revving of an engine, the speeding from 0 to 40 in 1 second, or from modifying pipes to remove catalytic converters or mufflers that are required by state law as well. Now, enforcing that task requires resources, and that's a big problem, especially because we don't now have a detention center. But regardless, it is an ordinance that can be enforced. But first, what I would suggest is that we put the bikers on notice by, as has happened in the past, asking them to pipe down through town. These signs in prior years made their way at the entrance and exit of the community. And it's a simple request. Please come here, please. That is fine. But if you come here and you rev your engine, you'll be cited and you'll be paying us $500 every time you do it.
Thank you, Walter.
Are we just taking turns?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My name is Chris Mulaney. I live at 406 North Hagen. This doesn't specifically speak to the rally because I, of course, love town. But I'd like to share a conversation I had last week, it was almost 2 weeks ago, with a couple of visitors to town. I weed the gardens at the library, and sometimes I'm apparently perceived as somebody who is a public official, and they ask me a lot of questions. Usually, where's the Chamber of Commerce? So I had two couples within 15 minutes on an early Saturday morning. An older couple came by, and they wanted to find out where the chamber was, and they were visually sort of upset about town. Just as I was starting to talk to them, 12 bikers came through town, revving their engines. I couldn't even tell them where the chamber was until they all went by. They didn't stop for the 3 families that were on the crosswalk at Mostoco and the library and IGA. That's a very, very busy crosswalk. They revved their engines and they sped through town in formation. And they weren't Hells Angels because it was after that. I continued meeting. A few minutes later, a young couple came up with a bunch of kids, and they said, they were asking me some other questions. And they were here for the husband to go fishing. And the wife was afraid to stay in town with the kids. And they were kind of just wandering around. What else could we do? They were hoping the library wasn't open. Unfortunately, it wasn't. I told them some of the, where the playground was and some things like that. But it made me realize that our perception from some of our visitors is this is not the place that is described in that handout that we we give everywhere, and the publications that we have in magazines. People are starting to realize this is not a friendly place for much of July. And that's when most people come. So I'm hoping that the council, and I'm really glad to hear that everybody was concerned about this. I'm hoping that you can find some ways that we can bring this back to some kind of solution that, I'm not anti-bike rally, I don't want to kill that, but what can we do? Can we move it out of town? Can we make it a little less friendly? Can we sort of discourage the behavior that we have seen the last 2 years? So, that's my comment.
Thank you, Chris.
Hello, my name is Marie Olson, for those of you who don't know me. Couple things about me. My husband and I own Boyd's here in Red Lodge. We've been in business for 21 years. I'm a mother of 4. What is that? Not from Red Lodge?
Do you live in Red Lodge?
Yes, I do live in Red Lodge.
Your home is in Red Lodge, within the city limits.
It's just a
She has a
business owner.
business.
Your home is in Red Lodge. Business owner. You don't ask the questions here, sir. If you continue doing that, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Okay, Marie, I'm gonna reset
Okay,
the
so I'm the
timer for you.
mother, you're gonna reset the clock for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm the mother of 4 girls. I've raised 4 kids through town. I'm also, being a business owner, I've always been involved with different parts of philanthropy in town. Those of you that know me, I've been involved with Rotary. I've been involved with Elks. I'm involved with the rally. I'm involved with rodeo. I put on during the Christmas stroll, I put on the Santa program. Those are just things I'm involved with now. So on top of having a business in town, I do believe that it's just as important to give back and for the greater good. And I believe that events share different types of art, and there's always something to get out of some of it, and not everyone is going to like every event. So, but I am pro progress, and I am pro business, and I am pro art. So I also during the rally we have the Montana Metal Rock Fest down at our shop, and we have done that now for 4 years. We've also had other concerts in the past down there. We've had a rhythm and blues concert in the past. We've had more rock, country, classic rock. We've tried a lot of different concepts through time. Logistically, talking about the Montana Metal, which is held during the rally, I want to tell you about my street closure, because when I had filed for the street closure, got a unanimous yes vote. I do believe that our Rock Fest helps to bring the tourists to town, to make the rally more fun in some ways and give people a place to go. It's what a street closure is crowd control. You can either have them all in one spot, or you can have them all over town. There's Airbnbs all over town. They can all have their little parties. They'll find something to do. Okay, and there's more people in town during the rally, during the rodeo, during Christmas stroll than a normal town day. Okay, and that's evident. So, but anyway, what my street closure is used for is for the tents and for tables and chairs. My PA guy is there. Foster and Logan's food truck was there. What is on my private property is the music, most of the speakers, the games that I hold, which is on private property. One thing I'd like to make a point of is I don't need the street closure. The street closure is a luxury for the people that are there. It gives them more room to breathe. It makes it a better atmosphere. But like I said, whether there's a street closure or not, my event can go on. So I do believe that there's been a miscommunication. I have read, after getting back late Sunday night, I have read all 29 letters. It's unfortunate that a lot of these people couldn't come to to us beforehand and just discuss these issues, because I am open
You want-
to
you
constructive
wanna wrap it up?
criticism. Okay? And I've read all the letters. I do believe there's valid points in there. I think we do need more discussion, but it can be addressed in a productive manner, and this is a productive manner. But there's a lot of miscommunication in here. There's a lot of things facts that were stated that are not simply true. And I just really appreciate the fact that we can defend ourselves on telling what the truth really is. So thank you for your time.
Welcome to
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Claire Poplar. I'm part owner of the Snow Creek Saloon. And I'd like to talk about the rally. And last year was the 28th rally. And we have the Snow Creek Street Dance, as you probably all know.
Can you give us your address?
Yes, it's 124 South Broadway.
Thank you.
So my points are that most of the people that come to the rally on their motorcycles are going to come through, whether the rally is here or not. They're coming down the Beartooth Pass. Beartooth Pass is rated the most beautiful ride in almost every motorcycle magazine in the country. Most of the bikers that come into our bar are here for the friendly atmosphere. They love the rally. They love the Iron Horse Rodeo. If you've never been to the Iron Horse Rodeo, I suggest that you go because it's so much fun. And the bikers are doing pole bending on their motorcycles. They do barrel racing. Almost the majority of bikers are veterans, and that's a fact. If you go to the Iron Horse Rodeo, you'll see at the beginning a paraplegic veteran parachutes in to the center of the fairgrounds, followed by the national anthem, where everybody in the stands is standing with their hand over their heart. It's patriotic, it's beautiful, it's heartwarming. The Road Dogs are a motorcycle club from Billings. They're the biggest club that comes. Majority are veterans. The Road Dogs gave 10,000 toys last year. They do the toy run in Billings, the Christmas run. Motorcycles aren't all terrible gangs or thugs. Most of them are bankers, business people, lawyers, your friends, your family. If you can afford a Harley, you have a pretty good business going. There are the clubs that come through. This is designated a neutral zone. I've managed the Snow Creek for 11 years. We've never, ever had a fight or a problem at our street dance or in our bar during Rally Week. If you've never been to our street dance, I invite you to come. At least a third of the people are locals, and it's a blast. We play great music. We have good food out there. Just like you to say, if you've never interacted with these people, please interact with them before you make up your mind that they're these terrible people that we don't want in our town. They're actually great tippers. They're here to have fun. For the service industry, they're amazing. The Tavern Association was able to give $30,000 in charity in 2019, and a lot of that income came from July, the biker rally. So our Tavern Association gives $1,000 to every food bank in Stillwater and Carbon County. We give $1,000 to every senior center, plus tons of individual people in the industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claire.
Technically, I'm not Red Lodge, but I've been part of, my name is David Stanhope, those that don't know me. I've been living or part of this community since '69. I'm 63, I moved here when I was 12. It gives you background. What I'm hearing tonight, I'm kind of at the wrong meeting probably, because I live out in Roberts and I don't really have the issues of what I'm picked up here. This first city council meeting I've been to in my life. I see what's going on in our country. and I see what's going on in our community. I'm here due to an incident that was on the 17th, Saturday night of the rally. And I'm probably putting a damp rag on everything. Because I came down here to ask, you know, I look around the country and think it's illogical for police defunding. But then when I hear about what happened on the 18th, I ask myself about that. It's a story I heard, the pullover didn't have a front license plate. 3 kids that were all underage, past midnight. They're all in a vehicle waiting for their parents to get out of the bar so they can drive them home, being good citizens of this community. When I grew up, there was one cop. One active police car was able to police this town. Now, I'm not saying that today. I'm not saying that today because of stuff I'm hearing with the rallies and the big stuff. But I'm making a point, population ain't that different. These kids were pulled over, harassed, pulled out of their car without parent consent, submitted to a breath test that they all blew 0. Their father that came up, probably agitated a little bit, got thrown on the hood of a car. And we got 6 cops tied up on some local teenagers down at Town Pump. I got a problem with that. I got a real problem with that. Either we got too much resource that the taxpayers are paying for, or we don't have it deployed properly. That's probably the highest probability-wise, the riskiest night of the year, probably, for the community. You tell me we can tie up 5 or 6 cops and some 4 or 5 teenagers? I come in here because I want to know who's accountable for the police department, who appoints chiefs, and where the taxpayers are getting their money. Because what I'm hearing tonight, we got a rally that takes up 1% of the year here. And we got an all upset community because they got a little bit of noise. I'm upset because I ain't gonna tolerate a police department in a little community like Red Lodge running the town off.
Hey, keep your voice down.
I'm hearing things like putting on these poor guys noise things on their motorcycle. No, like they don't have better things to do than chase people around that made a little noise on a motorcycle.
Your time's up, sir.
I'll be back.
Okay.
And before my time's up, I would like to ask, since it's my first one, where do I go to get resources and who do I talk to start finding out how this system works? 'Cause I'm gonna be involved. Are you the mayor?
I'm the mayor.
Bill?
Yes,
Can I come see you first then?
you sure can.
Do you have hours, certain days, or?
Usually here from 9 to 3. We do have 9 to 2 lately.
Through the week,
Yep.
through the business week in here?
So, yeah, call and make an appointment with me.
And I'll surely come down.
Thank you.
And I just want to make the point, we got to ask ourselves as a community. We all want law enforcement, we want professional law enforcement, but we don't need to be hassling kids.
Okay, we're good now. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lexi Adams. I live at 305 Ward Avenue, and since we're talking about kids, it seems right for me to step up and talk right now. Thanks, everybody, for the hard work you do, including the police here. Red Lodge is my hometown. My mom had a restaurant downtown for decades. I graduated from high school here in 1984. After graduation, I left for some years, and then I came home and got married and had 2 kids, because Red Lodge is a great place to raise kids most of the time. My youngest child, a girl, graduated from Red Lodge in May of this year. This summer, she's working out of state, so I don't have to worry about her. But for the past 4 or 5 years, especially since she began to develop, I haven't allowed her to walk downtown during the Beartooth Rally. I also haven't allowed her to go camping in our area's campgrounds over the days and now the weeks. It's not just 1%, sir, of the summer that the bikers are here.
1%.
The time that the bikers are here, my dear, is not just because they come before and after. It's fine, but
Camping is one of the things my daughter and her friends love to do here, and they should be able to do here whenever they want. Most of the year, they feel fine camping here, but these days, for much of July, there are too many bikers in and around Red Lodge for them to feel safe camping. Some of the bikers are awesome, but some of them are not nice people. They're the kind of guys who wear swastikas and a 1% patch on their jackets, the kind who look at a young girl up and down, the kind who catcall. During last year's rally, a group of bikers shouted to my daughter and her young friends again and again, and some of you might laugh at this, "Show us your tits, show us your tits." Do you think that it's safe for my daughter and her friends? Do you think that it's fair for my daughter and her friends to not be able to walk downtown because they might be yelled at to show their tits? That's what we're doing with this town and this event. Last year, my family and I were among about 24 people from age 80 down to parents with strollers who were harassed by a large group of bikers during our weekly Saturday morning march. The bikers intimidated and threatened us. They grabbed our arms, they shouted in our faces, and then they grew violent, and they threw one of our marchers, a native man, up against a wall of a downtown shop. Yes, they did. I was there, Marie. I was there, Marie.
Oh,
I was there. I was right there.
Marie?
I got it on video. Me there.
okay.
I was there. Here in America, shouldn't anyone, including a native guy, be allowed to march peacefully without fear of assault? Isn't that one of the principles of our great country? Isn't freedom of speech one of the principles, the right to march without fear? If so, shouldn't that also be here in Red Lodge? Shouldn't that also be true here in Red Lodge? The fear we felt that day, that shouldn't happen in our town, but it does. And it shouldn't surprise us. Why? Because there are clear connections between biker gangs and organized crime, sex and drug trafficking, violence and white supremacy. And there's so much material to support this online and off.
Okay.
I am not opposed to the event. I'm not opposed to the event.
Let's wrap it up.
I just want to say that things need to change.
And you're not speaking to the audience, you're speaking to
Things
the
need to
table.
change. I'm not opposed to the event taking place, but it needs to be scaled back out of town. It needs to be taken out of town like Red Ant
Okay,
Camp is.
that's good.
Okay?
Thank you.
Not opposed. I want to see some big changes.
Do we have anyone online? Anyone online have comment on the special events?
I'd like to say something.
Okay, give us your name and your residence address, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angie Hazel Swart. I live at 301 South Hagen Avenue. And I would just like to say thank you to the council for, it sounds like you're going to organize. I missed the beginning because I looked in the door and it was too full, so I went home, so I missed some of the beginning. But I got the impression that you're going to organize some kind of forum committee process where people can do a review, everybody can say their perspectives, and hopefully some changes can be created so that there's more harmony around events in town. And I think this area is obviously going to keep growing, so anything that can be done to help create a system for large events, I think is going to be a good thing, because there will probably be other large events being developed. And thank you. I appreciate that you're going to all sit down together and talk it out and hopefully create some awesome ideas.
Thank you, Angie.
You're welcome.
Good evening, my name is Lisa McGann. I own Carbon County Coal Wine and Spirits at 9 North Broadway. I also have a residence at 1021 South Coots Avenue, and my grandparents are the homestead for Metcalf Road. So in my experience, after 16 years of business, I have never had an issue with any customers during the Harley Rally Week. I've noticed all the throttle down signs throughout the town, not only just in the beginning and the end, but also throughout the whole town. 99% of visitors obey the laws. However, 1%, there always seems to be that 1% that doesn't. Law enforcement and speed and traffic laws and noise ordinances have no objection to implementation as long as they're enforced. Event organizers and businesses that help sponsor the event or provide entertainment should not be held accountable for the actions of individuals that do not obey these laws. We don't have control over those people. The 3-day event is centered at the fairgrounds out of town. Vendors do pay a bond and pay resort taxes. Outside vendors are provided, like Claire said, so that the local bars, restaurants do not exceed their seating capacity requirements and allow for safe distancing. Vendors also ensure, with the exception of the summer, smaller wait times for seating in restaurants. This summer has been extremely busy. It's been like Rally Week every week, with visitors starting as soon as the Beartooth Highway officially opened, in my experience this summer. As long as we have the Highway 212, like Claire said, it is a beautiful natural resource that we're lucky to have. America's all-American road and the most beautiful drive in America, and that's what draws all these people. And I have visitors the week before and the week after, and then also the 2 weeks of Sturgis, I'm inundated before and after. And so it's the same every year. I chose to make the most of a captive audience to make all travelers feel welcome to Red Lodge. The revenue that the Harley Rally and other summer events generate enable me to pay my bills and give back to the community in the form of donations and sponsorships of events and nonprofit organizations all year long. I suspect that this is the primary motivation for the other 3 women-owned businesses that are instrumental in planning events during the Harley Rally weekend. The Tavern, like Claire said, the Tavern Industry Organization donates back thousands of dollars to the community through food banks, fire departments, scholarships, foster care, and individuals in crisis. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah.
Hi, Bill. Mayor, members of the council, Bill Bullock, 900 Hyman Avenue, also county commissioner. I've been kind of in the back there listening to everybody today. A couple things specific to the Hells Angels gathering that was here, that was in the county. And the reality of that is that this is the closest adjacent place for all services necessary, food, entertainment, what have you. I appreciate Mr. Westwood's comment about reviewing how special events are permitted. We at the county are looking at that also. But what we keep running into is everything has to be applied equitably. Everything has to be, the same standard has to be for everybody. And so when you get to different prices and the costs of permitting, you get into several different things that, whether it be fair or whether it be rodeo, there's some places you just don't want to go. So I would just encourage, and I appreciate Mr. Westwood's commentary about taking time and taking a practical approach to this, because it's not a rubber stamp, but whatever is done has to be done equitably. So I wish you luck, because we're going through it right now. But we keep running into these things where and we talked to the Hells Angels before they came here. There is a permitting system in place. They did meet all the requirements for the county, and once they do that, we don't have a lot of sway without discriminating. With that too, a lot has been talked about law enforcement. Those don't know me, I had a 20-year career all here in Red Lodge with the Highway Patrol. I remember in years past, specific to the rally when it first started growing, 2 of us patrolled night shift for 3 days. It was managed. What changed significantly and the upstaffing of people was the year that we killed 7 people in 10 seconds between Columbus and the state line south of Belford. I don't have a good answer for a response. I know that things got ramped up then, and some of that perception is gone. Whatever side you're on, I always came back with, when you stop killing people, they'll turn the staff down. And when injuries go down, then you don't have the need for you know, it's a difficult question and something we all have to answer. So I wish you guys luck. We're happy to share with whatever we got. There's a lot of feelings about this one way or the other. There's benefits, there's ups, there's downs. But I think that we're gonna have to find, we, both city and the county, we're gonna have to find a way to manage this going forward because I don't see it changing with the events of the last year. I think that the phrase I heard this year was revenge summer, and I think we're getting that both barrels, and I'm guessing it may continue, but we'll find out. But diligence and then a calm approach and a practical approach to what's gonna happen. So I appreciate your endeavor.
Thank you, Bill.
Sherry Weimer, Red Lodge Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm always on the side of business, but I want you to know I read all the letters that were sent to the council, and I hear what you're saying. So I'd like to volunteer. If you do form a committee, I'd like to be part of it. I put on a lot of events, and events are the lifeblood of our businesses. I'd like to read a letter that one of the businesses sent to me. She says, I'm a business owner in the heart of Red Lodge, Montana on Broadway Avenue. I've been in business for 9 years. I support the events that are brought to Red Lodge, and much thanks to the individuals and groups that work effortlessly to bring these events to town, from songwriters, car show, Beartooth Bike Rally to Christmas Stroll. Each event brings a diverse and wide range of individuals to enjoy our town and spread countless dollars at our hotels, restaurants, and shops. I work hard when each event comes to town to merchandise my store, to appeal to the specific event and try to have extended hours to accommodate and maximize my income earnings. Hands down, July for most businesses is our busiest month, partly due to events happening almost every weekend that month. The super busy weekends help my business sustain and carry me through the slower times. Without these big, great events, it takes a financial struggle. I have a couple things I'd like to use. First, not every event is great for everybody all the time, but we all have to work and stick together for each event, because one way or another, it helps the business, which then has, of course, a trickle-down effect. Secondly, these events that come to town are priceless advertising. What I mean by that is someone may come for one event, have a great time, and decide to come back to celebrate a special occasion. And they also tell their family, friends, etc. Red Lodge started out a long time ago to become a destination, and that's what we have become. I know that one of the main events in question of possible debate is the Beartooth Bike Rally. This weekend comes in as one of my top grossing weekends, second only to Christmas Stroll. Bikers are going to visit Montana and Red Lodge no matter what. Motorcycles are just very popular right now, and it's the times we happen to be living in. Plus, we sit at the base of one of the top 10 most scenic highways in America. Thank you, Sandy Williams, Sisters on Broadway.
Thank you, Sharon. Any more comments online?
I actually have a legal point I'd like to maybe bring to you all. Is that okay?
Our city attorney is here.
Yeah, I'd address him as well. May I?
You've already spoke once.
I understand.
Make it quick.
Yeah, I guess my thought is on, and this, Mr. Bullock, if you're still here, you can hear me. The thought on permitting, you can't grant a permit, my understanding, is if you're discriminating based on a protected class or protected conduct, such as the right to free speech. But permitting a international criminal organization, I'm pretty sure you can decline that permit on that basis. Who permitted it?
Okay, guys. Okay. Yes.
I'd like to make a comment.
Can you hang on? Andrew's going to speak, and then you can go after that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
I'm a business owner, and my family has a long history in Red Lodge. We were the majority shareholders of Red Lodge Mountain for many, many years. And I just kind of want to point out, you know, for a lot of people, there's a reason you moved here, you know, and there's been a lot of people here for a long time building this community. And that's why you want to be here, you know, and you have to be a really savvy business person in this town to make it. You just do.
And my hats are off to the business people who make it here, because there's a lot who do not. So, in with that, you know, there is, I love that letter, Sherry. That's some words of wisdom right there. Not everybody likes everything, and not everything benefits everybody. Lexi, I want to share a couple of stories with you. One is that the first place I was ever tear gassed in my life was Red Lodge, Montana, on July 4th.
1974.
And I was 16 years old, downtown, having the best time. Okay. I also, unfortunately, will say that 3 years ago, my adult son was cold cocked by a cowboy on the 4th of July outside of one of our bars, and it cost him a new set of teeth. Stuff happens. It happens. I'm sure there's people who don't like Christmas stroll. You know, it's across the board. We really, you know, there are issues. The motorcycles, the noise. Walter, I appreciated your comments about let's enforce the laws that are on the books for starters. That's a good place to start. Yeah, so I think we have solvable problems, but if we end up attacking each other and attacking each other's businesses, we ain't got nothing, folks. That ain't community. You know, this community's been building for a long time, long before I was here, long before any of us were here. And that's why we all love it, is because it is a community, you know. So I appreciate that there's will to solve the problems. Let's try to do it civilly and respectfully, and maybe we can all prosper. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew, I love you. I want to know where you sleep at night. What's your address?
I live at home. My 2 children own homes in town. I don't really see a big dip in that.
Well,
I come to town every day.
Okay.
If you sleep or
Okay.
have newborns or.
Hello.
Lexi,
Hello.
I'm gonna have to ask you to leave if you
Okay,
keep it up.
okay.
Okay, whoever's online.
So my name is Brenda Martin. I live at 1124 White Avenue South. I've lived in Red Lodge since 2000, I believe. We own a Harley. We've owned motorcycles since we got to Red Lodge, since before we moved to Red Lodge. I just got back from Sturgis for my 24th year in a row. I talked to a lot of people in Sturgis, and everyone has either been over the Beartooth Pass or has a goal to come to the Beartooth Pass and stay in Red Lodge. Everybody loves Red Lodge. Super fun for all of those people to come and see what we have to offer when they're in, you know, big, ugly cities. There's not many things better than cruising over the Beartooth Pass on a motorcycle. The air, the beauty, it's like you're in a snow globe, the 360 degree view. It is amazing. The temperature pockets. I mean, if you haven't done it, do it. It's incredible. The topic I really want to bring up, however, is the 4th of July traffic on Main Street, on White Avenue, all over town. Those big diesels, they're loud, they're rolling coal. They've got trailers parked in the middle of Main Street, running into stores, running into restaurants. The traffic, 4th of July, really needs to get addressed. That's my only comment. And I would love to be on a committee and volunteer for this topic.
Thank you, Brenda.
So I'm out of town and I don't know if my business qualifies to make me in town or not.
I think we're at that point, we can
Okay.
go in there.
Well, mark me on your sheet, I My name is Tim Weimer. I used to live in town. I live up on Remington Ranch. I work with most of the marketing agencies in town, the TBED, the CBD, the Chamber of Commerce, individual businesses. I own redlodge.com. And thank you, Chris, for talking how beautiful our magazine is. We also, my wife and I also own and operate Destination Red Lodge Travel Planner magazine. Just like to say, my notes are written down because I have a tendency to scatter. Red Lodge has a long history of being an open, welcoming, diverse, and inclusive community. Unfortunately, there are times when we've also been a bit divisive. This appears to be one of those times. While we all deserve to be heard, it is perhaps more important to hear. And I mean, not just listen, but hear what the other side is saying. Solutions are not found in one side thumping the table and making demands. Solutions are not found in accusatory emails or debate on social media. Solutions are found through open-minded, honest discussion with a clear end in mind. And that end should always be the greater good of Red Lodge, all of Red Lodge. So here we are with a group in town wanting to get rid of one of the biggest events. And I'm going to ask them that rather than stigmatize and sensationalize and turn every motorcyclist into a biker who belongs to a gang. Yeah, I'm sorry, but every time I hear the word gang associated with biker, I think of the Killer Bees. And it's not a gang, it's a club, man. So, and of course, there are bad bikers, as there are bad people in every segment of society. No doubt of that. But in the words of Donny Osmond, and I apologize to you, Alistair, for bringing up Donny Osmond. One bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch, girl. I don't care what they say. I don't care what you heard. The economic life of Red Lodge is increasingly driven by tourism. We have become a destination vacation area, and our events have played an important role in this success. I applaud our event coordinators. I know the dedication and hard work it takes to pull these events off, and I appreciate their contribution and dedication to our town. Some of you might say we don't need the tourism and that we'd be better off without tourism. If you'd like to see what Red Lodge would be like without tourism, all you need to do is look around. We are surrounded by towns that are struggling and would love to have our vibrant, growing economy. Event coordinators need to listen to the community, just as the community needs to listen to the event coordinators. And remember, not just listen, but actually hear what they are saying. And you need to know your neighbors, and you need to know that they're your neighbors and not your enemies. Heather, could you step forward, please?
Let's go ahead and wrap it up.
This is Heather Quinn. She runs the rally. If this is the face of your evil, you live a very charmed life.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, I have to say one more thing. I'm very proud of the fact that I have played a role, however small, in the growth of the Red Lodge economy. I'm proud of the fact that I'm serving on and have served on numerous boards and committees in Red Lodge that have created change and growth. I am proud of the fact that when I've had problems, real or perceived, with my neighbors, that I have gone face to face with them and talked with them, not at them, and that we have always found a solution. I am proud to be part of what Red Lodge is. So in closing, I'd just like to say, y'all knock it the hell off and get back to being an open, welcoming, diverse, and inclusive community that we are all proud of. We are safe.
Public comments.
This is Jeff DiBenedetto. I'm at 317 South Hagen, and I have a couple comments.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to start off by saying that last week was Beamer Week, I guess, in town, and I wonder how many people actually realize that there was another event kind of coming through town, or a group of motorcycles coming through town. And my point is that we hardly heard them or didn't hear them at all. And my main issue with, which is fine, and I'm not against motorcycles or motorcycle owners or motorcycle riders, but what I am against is the noisy motorcycles. And my issue is that this summer and past summers, we seem to be inundated by the loud noise of during the bike rally, as well as bikers going to and from Sturgis. And this year was compounded by the further addition of the Hells Angels in town for a week. And I guess my thing, I think it's time that we started addressing that issue. And as far as the excessive noise, I hear it down 2 blocks off. I live 2 blocks off Broadway, so it isn't like the noise is confined to Broadway. I hear it on Hagen Avenue. I hear it through the night. Heard up to 3:30 in the morning this summer. Was one incident. So what I'd like to see is as you to begin enforcing the ordinances that we have already on the books that deal with exhibition driving, particularly that deals with loud and unusual noises, and the fact that bikes are on the street that are illegal or not or have been modified aftermarket to be loud. And we can start mitigating this by first educating people coming to town that we're not going to tolerate loud motorcycles in town anymore. That might be one solution. I'm not advocating to immediately start ticketing, but we need to start educating people that loud motorcycles are not appreciated in our town. I think
You want to wrap it up, Jeff?
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to quickly wrap it up that we don't necessarily need a rally as an event. As many people have spoken up, but they said, Red Lodge has a lot of attributes that draw people here anyway. And I think promoting events such as the Songwriters Music Festival and maybe sponsoring additional music festivals are some alternatives that we can start thinking about and talking about.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Phil Nardinger. I'm the chair of the Home Champions Rodeo. Tim, thank you for your comment, because I thought this community definitely, when we first moved here, it had all the different draws that our family likes. We are involved with the rodeo very heavy. We're involved with the Harley Rally. The Harley Rally actually last year, the only income the rodeo had was from the Harley Rally, and we lost $30,000 last year. So that was a big hit for us. I know that there's 3 events that we did a study on. I'm also involved with the fair, but it brings in $16 million to this town, and it was more than that this year. And that is direct impact to Red Lodge. Study was done in Red Lodge. I just want to make it clear that I think all of us are in this together on these events. I pretty much live here in a camper for a month. And so we also have a motorcycle, and it's loud, but we enjoy all of them. And I think that we are really if you start poking at one event, you're gonna start poking at a lot of them. And we have been here for 92 years with the rodeo. And I would hate for anything to happen there. Our horses are definitely not muffled, so hopefully they get to continue going down the street also.
Thank you, Phil.
Any other public comments?
Hi there. I'm Dave Lund here. Like the organizers of the Beartooth Rally, I don't live in Red Lodge. I live just outside of town. I grew up in Montana. I've been in Red Lodge for about 20 years. Tim and I went to high school together, so considering our ages, we've probably been around Montana more than just about most of the people in this room. I want to thank the council for starting this process. It should be a long process, involved process. There aren't too many residents of Red Lodge that can't tell you about 24/7 noise ordinance violations, speeding violations, and just for starters, during Beartooth Rally. And I would like to dispel a myth that anyone is saying get rid of the Beartooth Rally. The people, the many residents of Red Lodge that are negatively impacted by the rally are just looking for solutions to make it tolerable and safer in Red Lodge. So I really thank you for the process that you started. And I want to address the financial mythology that surrounds the event. I know that there are several businesses that close, several businesses lose money during the rally. Law enforcement is on the hook for tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even if you're not paying taxes in Red Lodge, you're paying state and federal taxes. You're paying for law enforcement needs that are exorbitant during the Beartooth Rally and lovely events like the Hells Angels being in town that no other event asks for. And I've heard this figure of millions of dollars, and I would say it's time that we ask for hard data, hard proof, not just anecdotal, that certain special events bring in so much more than any other busy weekend in Red Lodge. And anyone who's been around Red Lodge knows that Red Lodge has been pretty much maxed out all summer. So let's, as part of this process, get hard data so that we can make intelligent decisions going forward. So thank you for starting the process, and many of us look forward to being involved with you. We appreciate your work and your wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Any other public comment? Got time for just about one more. You want to finish it up there, Heather?
I don't have near enough time, and I, like Tim Weimer, tend to get extremely scattered. However, my notes are not, so I'm going to be scattered. I would like to ask Chief Schrock, you said that there were some things that took you out of service. Could you tell
It's not really a question and answer period. It's more of a comment period, Heather.
Okay. Can I comment on the fact that we do live out of town? But I've been here for 40 years. I've owned several homes in town over the past. We still own a home in town. We own our commercial building in town, and we own the Bone Daddy's building, which we are currently remodeling to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and adding sprinkler systems to turn it into a downtown venue. So we do pay a good share of tax dollars here in the community. I did read through all of these letters. I appreciate most of these letters. Obviously noise is one of the big complaints.
There was a lot of questions about the camping and how much money and that type of thing. So I'm not gonna go through our actual financial books here in public, but I can tell you that the city is kind enough to let us use the camping. They do charge us for that. We do bring in our own security. We don't ask for extra security up at the campground. The police department obviously come through and check on everything, but we have about 20 security people that are there. We pay them $3,500 plus an extra $500 as they are a church group. We pay for the porta potties for the camping, which is about $5,576. We have insurance that we pay for, which is about $1,800. We bring in garbage dumpsters, which is about $520. We bring in hand wash stations, which is about $800. We have allied waste, which is about $850, plus they do donate some of the pickup fee. We clean up before and after for the rodeo grounds. We try to leave it better than how we find it. The rodeo itself is held at the rodeo grounds, and we pay for that event as well. During the week, we also use the bathrooms at the rodeo grounds that we pay for. We do put a tent up there. We do have food service up there for part of it, just to help the burden that is put on the downtown businesses. We also have the Red Lodge Fire and Rescue up there during the rodeo. They only charge us $450, which is a great deal. We have events up there. The rodeo itself is very family friendly. It's a beautiful event. It's very ceremonial. So that kind of answers some of those questions about the camping and how that works with the event and the city. The Beartooth Rally itself consists of a poker walk downtown. We added that to encourage the guests that come into the community to experience the downtown businesses. Am I done?
Wrap it up.
Okay. And then we do the two poker runs, which leads the bikes out of town, and of course, one of those is over the Beartooth Pass. That's really about it. There is one person in all the letters, and her name is, help me guys.
I don't think we have to put names out there.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up.
She was on tonight and asked to be part of it, and we would love to speak with her. We would love to speak with anybody. If you address us in a kind manner, don't leave nasty messages, don't come into our building in a hostile manner, we will set up a time to visit with anybody. So, thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, that was very good discussion. Anything back at the table that anyone wants to say? Pete?
This is a tremendous outpouring of interest. Speaking for myself, I'm going to keep this on the front burner. It needs to be equitable, both for the commercial aspect and for the concerned citizens. And I hope the same enthusiasm remains with all of you out there as we go through this process.
Very good. Thank you for all your comments. We'll move down to public comment area. And Dave, did you want to fill the council in on the, just real quick on what we're doing for suicide prevention for a month?
We had someone reach out to a couple members of council. September is National Suicide Prevention Month. They did prepare a proclamation. If we haven't got that to all council, I'll make sure we get a copy, but after reviewing with legal, it was determined that it's not a resolution, it's not an ordinance. And so it's something that the mayor can go ahead and sign, which is good because that means it can be in place and in effect before September 1st, which is kind of important since it's about September 1st, but we'll make sure that information gets out to everybody.
Yeah, I'd like him to share that.
Sure. Thank you. Also, Robin had something on a grant that you wanted to just give us a quick overview.
I texted her before Heather spoke. She was going to try and get here. So she's not online. She's going to try and get here, but.
So we'll just continue on with public comment period. You can talk about anything you want to. within the city's jurisdiction.
Can I say something? Okay.
So,
Well, I just wanted to announce to everyone that they are going to have a mini park cleanup on Saturday, August 28th from 1 to 2:30 at Coal Miners Park. If anyone would like to participate, please contact Courtney.
Any last?
No, she should be here in a second, but I can speak to, the workforce housing group is looking at, potential ARPA funding for, either the purchase of land or the construction, helping offset the construction costs of, the housing project. They, do need to submit a resolution for that. The resolution would need to get passed at our meeting in September, the first meeting in September. That grant application is due September 15th. So I asked Robin just to kind of give a little background on that so you guys were aware of it and have some information about it ahead of time.
Okay, so that's forthcoming.
I have a quick, is there any financial obligation or expected commitment from the city, or what is?
There would be no financial commitment from the city.
Okay. Here's Robin real quick. We just got a quick overview from James on it. Give me a couple minutes. You want to speak on it?
Yeah, is that all right?
Yep.
Yeah, just wanted to inform council that we are looking at applying for the CDBG CARES Act grant. This is a separate pot of money from CDBG's planning grant. Just wanted to give a heads up that that will require a resolution at the September meeting, as well as a public hearing. And a part of that public hearing, so usually for CDBG grants, there's two, but since this is COVID related, it's a fast track process, so only one hearing. And citizens will have a chance to be informed about the potential projects that we're looking at. Priorities will be on affordable and workforce housing. Citizens will have an opportunity to discuss the needs of low to moderate income persons, housing needs, and then we'll get some input on how we're prioritizing projects for that. Any questions about how that process will work?
Robin,
Yes.
will that be on the city website so people can?
Yeah, I could work with James on putting something up there.
I mean, the notice that the meeting and so on.
Yeah, and the requirement is 2 days public notice, but we'll probably get closer to a week, 2 weeks. The other difference with the CDBG CARES Act funding is there's no match requirement.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, let's get back to public comment. Any other public comment on anything in the city's jurisdiction? Public comment? Public comment? We're calling it a night. Thank you all. Yeah.